You are listening to the Marketing Equation Podcast with Martin Shervington.
So, welcome to the Marketing Equation. I've got Jeffrey here. Jeffrey, who are you? What do you do? It's lovely to see you.
Well, we got to add something up if it's the equation. So we need to divide something, add something up, multiply.
Glad you said that. That's the punchline at the end. What are we going to do? How are we going to formulate this?
Except, in fact, quite frankly, if you're talking to me, it's about multiplication because I like things that are big. I'm the brand new author. I shouldn't say brand new author. The book's been out for like 10 months now. But Think Big, Act Bigger, The Rewards of Being Relentless. You know, I'm a television host, radio host in the U.S., serial entrepreneur. I've bought and sold over 250 businesses in my career, $25 billion in transactions. I've won businesses and lost businesses, and and I like to have it fun. I'm a part-time cowboy. I would love to be a full-time cowboy, but I'm not around enough on a horse to be able to be a full-time cowboy.
Guys, what motivates you then?
I'm a couple of things. One, I call them conditions of satisfaction. One of those being I want to build wealth because I like to have things. I like to have money. I like to be able to spend money, and my wife spends money, and my kids spend money, and the business spends money. So I like making money. I think that's how we keep track. The second piece of it is I like to do things that I learn from. I like learning. I really like to do things and like, wow, that interests me, and it attracts me that way. And then third, I like to have fun. Those are the three things that kind of motivate me. And excuse me, not always in that order, but certainly if I have all three of those things, I'm happy. If I only have two of those, I can kind of put up with waiting for another one to come. But usually it's the learning and the having fun that's more important than the money.
Okay. So what's going on with marketing these days for you? Because I know you're doing a lot on social.
Yeah.
What about like the pay-per-click route? What about PR? I know you're doing some innovative stuff on launching for people's books. Where do you think things are at? Have you your helicopter view of it all?
No, we do it. You got to do it all. You got to you got to go where the people are. So you got to find out where they're at. For someone to say, well, I'm not going to do social media because it's not for me. Well, if it's not for you, it's for your customers because your customers might be sitting there. So what I like to do is like, I've got this message, I've got this thing to sell, whatever it might be, or to engage with. And then I got to find the ways to engage, and I got to find out where the customers are. So you got to use all of those things. It'd be great to say that I can just do one, but you can't do one. And if you're only doing one or two or three, then you're really losing out. You're missing out, in terms of being able to be there where the people are. So you got to find out where they're at, what they like to get, how they like to receive the information, and then get it. Then that way, I call it very much a servant mentality. I want to serve people what I got. And to do that, I got to find out where they're at. And then I want to be the very best at it and servicing them and serving it to them in a way that they really like.
So what do you think makes you the best at what you do in relation to
Well, I think I'm more relentless than most people.
I like that word. I related when you said that word before. I think it's a good way. It's
Yeah. I'm just going to wear you down. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to go. I'm going to find every which way I can do it to serve it. You've got something I want, whether it's time, money, expertise. Usually it's a lot of money. I want money. So if those are the cases, then I'm going to do it. And there's two ways I go about doing it. I'm either going to seduce you or overpower you. So, but I'm going to be relentless in the way in which I do it. And that's, I think, what separates. No one will out-hustle me. No one. And I've done that all my life because I'm not the brightest guy. I might be the best looking one, but I'm not the brightest, And so for me, it's about, and of course, I'm just joking about that. For me, it's really about I'm going to out hustle you. I'm going to do everything it takes. If you get a sense of knowing who I am, I'm doing letters in the middle of the night. I'm the first one up in the morning, not because I like mornings, just because I got to beat you. I got to win. And so that's what I'm going to do.
Seduce or overpower? Let's talk a little bit about this. How do you seduce people? How do you overpower them? And
well, you got to be able to, that comes with the experience. Lots of different ways. At first, I'm going to learn your personality types. There's 4 basic personality types. I'm going to try to mirror that as much as possible. But I'm a driver personality. So drivers have 2 different ways. You walk into a driver's office, you look on their wall, and they've got like trophies, plaques, things they've killed. That's the way they look at the world, So you got to use different types of closes, different types of approaches in the way in which you sell to these or engage with these folks, So, first of all, it's an understanding of those different types of people and figuring out what those are. And then based on that, then I want to be able to serve you in those ways. And so, if you're an amiable personality, I'm going to talk more about your family. I'm going to talk more about your personal relationships, get to know you. Would you like to come out for, to my home for the weekend with the kids, bring the kids over? I got a bridge. We'll shoot a cannon. I own a cannon. We'll do those things. We'll fish. I don't even bring fishing pole. It's that, but that wouldn't work with a driver. With the driver, I'd say, hey, I'd like 4 tickets to the Rangers hockey game. You get my private box. You get to use these, get to do that. That's a much better use because the driver doesn't want to hang around with me. He wants to use those tickets to show his power with his clients. And so those it becomes those kinds of things. And then like an analytical, you never offer them tickets because they'd say, oh my God, you see how expensive these things are. And they think about how much you're charging them, and that if you didn't give me these tickets, you could have got the service for cheaper, the speech for a lot less money. And then there's the expressives, that's my wife. They can't talk without the use of their hands. They're artsy and fartsy. They're going to lose the tickets, right? They'll lose the tickets.
Sounds like me, that one.
Yeah. And then 20 minutes before the event, they realize, oh, I've got tickets to the match. Where are they at? And then they're going to call me and say, did you send them over? Yes, I sent them over. Look on your desk. Of course, there's piles of shit all over your desk, and and all the stuff that goes with it, and those kind of things. So just different things. I never do business with expressive. I never. I just marry them and then give them whatever they want. That's what I do.
Good. Yeah. I think that was a proposal. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Well, you're a very attractive man. So what can I say?
It's a good job for most people as a podcast. So you're processing how best to match the personality, and it's communication, isn't it? I mean, everything you talk about is communication.
It always is. It's. Yeah. But absolutely, you just said the key word, Martin. You said the key word. I was at a conference the other day, and someone said, it's all about relationships now. I go, when the hell did that stop? It's always been about relationships. Great marriages, great partnerships, great customer relationships. It's always about relationships and how you treat people and the way in which you treat people. Never get away from that. I was talking to a speaker just a few minutes ago because she was saying that they were looking for speakers who were cheaper than the group that she's normally in. And the reason for that was because she said they're easier to deal with. Because the people who have gotten to a certain fee level typically have gotten a little bit more affluent, a little bit more stuffy, a little bit more demanding. I only want this kind of water. You must not talk to me. You must have hand wipes when I shake hands. Crap like that. Just bullshit stuff. And, and she pointed out, she said, she was going to speak to a group of speakers here in a couple of weeks. And she said, I'm going to tell them about how they need to be nicer, because these are $1 million guys. These are people that make millions a year in speaking, which in our profession is a very small percentage of people. So we know each other, and a group gets together fairly often. And whereas I will tell you, I show up early, I show up prepared, I go around to the sound people, the lighting people. What can I do to make you get your job done faster, quicker, easier? I want to be the least thing that these people worry about. Because by doing that, one, I outshine over everybody else. Two, I over-deliver with the easiest things, and that's just to be nice. And then three, they invite me back because I'm a nice guy. And I'm not always a nice guy. I'm kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, I've been married for 30-some years, and I know me, I wouldn't be married to me. But, but I try to make it, worth people's while to get to know me.
But it's proper professionalism, isn't it? I mean, and the value.
I don't know. I'm going to cut you off, but I'm going to. What the heck? You asked me a question. Put the quarter in, you get to go for the full ride. I don't know what would you call that in the UK. I don't know what that is. But you put the pound in, you get to go for
80% what it was last week.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you what you guys have done. What was it said? Someone's really screwing it up in the UK, but yet in the US we have the Trump card. So there we go. Boom. I thought, boom.
Space, I know.
Yeah. So, is it professionalism? Without question. But is it just a common decency? I mean, to me, that's just like it's a lot easier to treat people nicer. And I go through stages where I'm really crabby, and I get, I'm not as polite as I could be to the waiter sometimes, maybe, or the cab driver, or to the thing. You know what? And I got to tell you, a couple months ago, I said to myself, I got to watch that.
Yeah.
I got to watch that. That's not being me. And now, I pretty much say yes sir, no sir, and thank you, ma'am. Even younger people, thank you, sir. Just because I want them to understand that's what you should do. And I think we need to bring more of that back. And I think more civility. I think the internet's done a lot to take that away. I think social media has done a little bit of that to take it away. We hide behind that and think we can bitch and moan and complain and say whatever we want. And no, you can't. You can. There's just consequence. Yeah. And, I'm going to let you know there's a consequence for it.
Let's talk about the cab and let's talk about the journeys. Because I know you meet a lot of people when you were talking stories when I saw you in San Francisco. Serendipity. How much of your success do you put down to, I don't want to use the word luck, but serendipity being your personality within the circumstance?
Well, I think there is some of that, but you make that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by being in a sense of openness, you're prepared yourself to be open to new things, to different things. So, it's, I'm a believer and I don't know what I don't know. So I go at it with a constant state of awareness. Like, yeah, that might be kind of the rule, but I'm open that it's different, and you can show me. Doesn't mean it's, it's right or it's wrong. It just means different way of doing it, different assessment, different thing. So I think when we say that we open ourselves for these other possibilities because we're open to it. And I think quite frankly, there's more to it than just saying it. We attract it. And I think it's a very subconscious kinds of thing that when you see people who are emitting those kinds of things, I don't want to get too weird here, but I think there's an energy field that's around people that way. I think it's a subconscious.
Trust me, people listen to me. It's good.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a subconscious thing that's out there that emits that. And your negativity, if you're in a bad mood, people pick up on that. If you're in a bad place, they pick up on that. And I think that aura, that energy field that's around you is a great piece of that. So, I walk with a great deal of swagger. Not all of it justified, but what the hell, I walk with a great deal of confidence. Not because I'm perfect or that I'm going to be able to do everything, but I'm going to do my best of what that is, whatever that is. And I think that leads to other opportunities for me.
I want to talk about humour, because one of the things, and I've forgotten about this, you made me laugh. You made me laugh a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, but I do stand-up comedy now and again.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and so for me, that's like, if you can break into somebody's kind of realm or sphere and you get them to laugh, or they just respond with laughter, you connect. It just means that you drop this barrier and you have a good laugh, and it's great. So, what do you use that in business? Is it naturally you? Are you a funny guy? Have you always been funny?
It's naturally, it is naturally, but I work on it. I play around with the lines a little bit. I'm a professional at what I do, so therefore I hone my craft. I'm in the Hall of Fame, for the Speaking Hall of Fame, with Art Linkletter and Norman Vincent Peale and Ronald Reagan and some of the Zig Ziglar and some of the greatest speakers in the world, which I'm very, very honored to be a part of. But I hone my craft without question. I do use humor, especially in a corporate setting, because there is a barrier, there is a hierarchy, there is a sense of I can't laugh because I'm more powerful than the guy next to me, or I'm not at the power level of the person next to me. Therefore, I don't want to be seen as weak or whatever it might be. All the stuff that goes into that. And I think by me making people laugh, it disarms them.
Yeah.
And if you remember, a great deal of that humor I use is aimed at me. So because I'm a big guy, and quite frankly, I'll say this, and people will say I'm arrogant, whatever. Shut up, get over yourself. I'm very I talk about myself in the third person sometimes, almost as it's a character, because to some extent it is. Okay, but they're exaggerations, like a cartoon character. They're the exaggerations of those things. So, but I am bigger than necessary on stage. I'm big, loud, obnoxious. And the reason is because that's a great way to be able to deliver that message into that. And so using the humor of breaking that down, it's like, hey, look, I'm a successful guy. I've done this. I'm so forth, blah, blah. And if I can laugh at myself, get over yourself, And I think that shows people you can be. The other thing is you can show you can be vulnerable, and I've learned that to be very, very effective in the things that we do.
And it helps other people drop the guard just a little bit, and
yeah.
level it. I think that's the point, because in the room that we're in, you've got lots of different people, you've got people pitching, you've got different investors and all of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, but Marvin, we're all the same, and we're people.
Yeah.
We're human beings. So just because I made more money than you doesn't make me better. Just because you've got a better relationship with your children than me or whatever, I'm just making this stuff up, doesn't make you better than me. Just because you've got a fancy British accent and I've just got an American one, doesn't. Doesn't. Well, maybe it makes you a little bit better than me, but not really. But that's my point. And that's what I've learned. I used to be intimidated. Even a successful big guy. You sometimes get intimidated, like, oh my God, that guy's on private plane, he's a billionaire. It's 24. I know a guy who's 24 houses. 24. I mean, how the hell do you find your iPad charger, for God's sakes? You got to have one in every house. It's like, what a pain, How do you know what underwear you got and which one? I mean, things like, but that was like, whoa, man. And then I got to thinking, what a pain in the ass life he's got. I got a good life. So you just learn that, and that guy or that gal was an asshole in high school, and really is an asshole now, And so I'm okay with it. Now I just like, okay, we're all people. And if you can't, and I don't care whether you're a janitor or you're or the CEO of the company. I want to treat you the same way because, you are the same people.
Cool. I'm going to ask you a question about LinkedIn. It's not really about LinkedIn. It's about you.
Mm-hmm.
You were pleased with the acquisition of LinkedIn because because one of your projects. Do you want to let people know what that is?
It's a C-suite network. We're building the most trusted, vetted network of executives in the world, and so when I found out that most executives that are on LinkedIn at a higher level, meaning of companies 10 million or above, because that's only a very small percentage of companies in the world. They don't put their real information. They're really wary of the people who contact them. So we created our own network, a vetted network that says you must be this tall to be in. You must be of this position. And so we created C-Suite Network along with C-Suite TV, radio, C-Suite Book Club. We were putting on conferences. And so the acquisition of LinkedIn by Microsoft was, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. And so it's, I don't know if it's tripled our valuation, but it certainly has done a great deal to increase our valuation. And so, and not that, we weren't doing it ourselves, we were doing it ourselves. It's great to see it validated.
Yeah, that's great. So, last couple of bits. The first bit, advice for people that don't know what to do when it comes to taking the products to market. What's the first thing that you would say, just off the top of your head?
Well, to take a product to market?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that it's something that besides your mother and your cousin's going to buy it.
Yeah.
So you want to do your homework to understand what you think is right. Doesn't necessarily mean everything else. I come up with ideas for TV all the time, and I think they're awesome. And then yet when I go out to sell it to somebody, they go, "What the hell are you thinking?" Right? So first of all, prove that it will work. And so that means get out there and hustle it on the street and see if people will buy it besides the people you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's that. And then the other thing is a lot of people say, well, this is the most unique product in the world. It's one of a kind. If you want to have an enemy, okay? And the enemy might be, this happens to be a pen, the enemy is that you can't write down a great idea if you don't have this. And so therefore you forgot it. So this is $1 million item that you need to have because you just came up with $1 million idea. So what's your biggest enemy? You better find it, because if you're going to find the enemy, then hopefully it's the biggest, baddest enemy you've ever seen, whether it be time, money, expertise, or whether it be a competitor, right? And you're just going to do it better than them, not cheaper than them, but better than them. Awesome, even better, because that means there's value there. See, so for me, like having like a LinkedIn or having other people as a competitor is a great thing. I'm just going to take this piece of it and show you how we're going to do it better. And by the way, that represents 95% of all the spend. That small percentage of people, that 15 million out of their 500 million people, that controls 95% of the spend. So you can talk to these other millions and millions and millions and millions of executives. You can talk to this small sliver, and this small sliver represents more business than all those people combined. Wow. Hello, game, set, match.
Perfect. Last bit. Where can people find you?
If you don't know how to Google or look up stuff on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Hayzlett, Hayzlett, or C-Suite, anything with C-Suite. You can find C-Suite Network, C-Suite TV. You can find my television show, the C-Suite TV on C-Suite TV. You can find my show, Executive Perspective, on C-Suite TV. You can find my CBS podcast on CBS or Play.it or iTunes. Just look up all things Hayzlett. I'm huge. I'm everywhere.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Marketing Equation Podcast, brought to you by PlusYourBusiness.com and Effective.fm.